Your soulmate has wrote a digital secret love letter. It'll be expires in 10 minutes. Stop right there. Do not swipe away from this video. Do not lower the volume, and do not let your attention drift for even a single second. I need you to listen to me with your entire soul right now, because what you have just stumbled upon is not a coincidence, and it is certainly not a random recommendation. You have just walked into a divine interception. There is a literal clock ticking in the spiritual realm at this very moment, and an energetic window is rapidly closing. You have exactly 10 minutes before the frequency of what I am about to share with you dissipates into the ether. Your soulmate has written you a digital secret love letter, and the universe has paused time itself just so you can receive it before it expires. I know you are exhausted. I know you have spent countless nights staring at your phone, hopping for a notification that never comes, wondering if the connection you feel so deeply in your bones is just a figment of your imagination. You have asked the heavens for a sign. You have begged for a shred of proof that you are not holding onto a ghost, that the love you have been fiercely protecting in your heart is actually reciprocated. Take a deep breath right now and let your shoulders drop, because your proof has finally arrived. But it didn't come in the way you expected. It didn't come as a standard text message or a voicemail. It came as a massive, overwhelming wave of spiritual energy, triggered by an action your soulmate took when they thought no one, not even God, was watching. I want you to picture the exact moment this happened. It was late. The world around them was completely silent, and the only illumination in the room was the harsh blue glow of their phone screen. They were alone with their thoughts, and the defensive walls they usually build so high had finally crumbled under the unbearable weight of missing you. They opened a blank message. Their hands were actually shaking, and for the first time in a very long time they let their ego die. They started to type. They didn't just type a casual hello or an excuse to check in. They poured their absolute rawest, most terrifying truth into that digital space. They typed out a secret love letter that contained everything they have been too paralyzed by fear to say to your face. You might be looking at your own messages right now, wondering why your inbox is empty if this letter is so real. This is where you need to understand the mechanics of the spiritual realm. Your soulmate typed every single word. They stared at the screen, reading the paragraphs over and over again. They felt the absolute reality of their love for you. But right as their thumb hovered over the send button, the fear took over. The paralyzing, suffocating fear of rejection, the fear of vulnerability, the fear that they are not worthy of the sanctuary that your heart provides. In a moment of sheer panic, they held down the backspace button. They watched the words disappear from the screen, one by one, until the message box was completely empty again. They thought they had erased the evidence. They thought their secret was safe in the dark. But they forgot one universal law. Energy can never be created or destroyed, it can only be transferred. When they typed those words with such intense emotion, with such a heavy heart and tear-filled eyes, they created an energetic imprint. They sent a frequency out into the universe that was so loud, so undeniable, that your spirit guides immediately intercepted it. They caught the digital signal before it could vanish into the void, and they have brought it directly to you through this very screen. The universe has essentially hacked your soulmate's deleted message, and I have been tasked with reading it back to you. This is an emergency of the heart. The spiritual signal holding this message is incredibly fragile because it was born out of fear and hesitation. That is why this energetic window expires in just 10 minutes. If you click away, if you allow your doubts to convince you that this isn't for you, the frequency will break, and the words they desperately needed you to hear will be lost to the wind. You have to stay in this vibration. You have to open your spirit to receive the exact words they typed in the dark. I am going to read this letter to you, word for word, exactly as it was formed in their soul. But before I decode the deepest parts of their confession, there is something you need to brace yourself for. Because right before they panicked and erased the entire message, they typed one specific sentence. It wasn't about the future, and it wasn't about their fears. It was a sentence about a very specific moment in your shared past, a moment you thought they had completely forgotten, a moment you thought meant nothing to anyone but you. In this letter, they admit that this specific moment is the exact reason they realize they can never, ever let you go. The countdown is running. The spiritual veil is pulled back, and their true feelings are sitting right in front of you, waiting to be claimed. Let's step into the quiet, heavy atmosphere of that room, look over their shoulder, and see exactly what was going through their mind in the moments before they started typing. You are about to discover why they couldn't press send, and more importantly, the chilling secret they wrote about your past. I want you to place yourself in the exact environment where this digital confession was born. It was the dead of night, that specific hour when the distractions of the day fade away, and the ego has no more energy to keep up its defenses. The world outside their window was completely still, but inside their mind, a storm was raging. Your soulmate was sitting in the dark, the only light in the room coming from the harsh, clinical glow of their phone screen illuminating their face. They were exhausted, not just physically but spiritually. They have spent weeks, maybe even months, carrying the heavy armor of pretending that they are perfectly fine without you. They have been forcing smiles, burying themselves in their daily routines, and trying to convince themselves that the silence between you two is for the best. But last night that armor cracked. The silence didn't feel like peace anymore. It felt like a prison. They opened the messaging app on their phone. They didn't scroll through their contacts. They went straight to your name. They stared at your profile picture for a very long time. In that quiet, desperate moment, they weren't just looking at a photo. They were trying to feel your frequency through the screen. They remembered the exact sound of your laugh. They remembered the way your energy feels, how just being near you feels like taking a deep breath after being underwater for too long. A physical ache settled in their chest, a heavy, undeniable realization that no matter how far they run, no matter who else they talk to or what distractions they chase, all roads in their mind lead straight back to you. The cursor on the screen was blinking, a steady, rhythmic pulse in the dark, almost mocking their hesitation. They knew that a simple "hey" or "how are you" would be an insult to the depth of what you two share. They knew that you have grown, that you have evolved, and that you no longer have the patience for breadcrumbs or half-hearted attempts. And that is exactly where the fear set in. This wasn't a casual hesitation. It was a soul-deep terror. I need you to understand this clearly, because it is going to validate every tear you have shed over this connection. They did not hesitate because they don't care. They hesitated because they are absolutely terrified of your light. As they sat there, watching the cursor blink, they experienced a profound moment of self-awareness. They looked at their own life, their own unresolved issues, and their own past mistakes, and then they looked at the spiritual power you carry. They see the healing you have done. They see the boundaries you have built and the beautiful, fierce independence you have cultivated while waiting for them to get their act together. Your soulmate was paralyzed by the thought, what if I am not enough for them anymore? What if I reach out and they look at me and realize they are better off without me? That fear is a heavy anchor. It is the fear of standing in front of the only person who truly sees you and being found unworthy. They realize that stepping back into your life means stepping up to your level. It means dropping the games, dropping the masks, and offering you the consistency and the emotional safety that you have always deserved but rarely received. The sheer weight of that responsibility made their hands shake. But the longing was stronger than the fear. The spiritual cord that connects your heart to theirs was pulling so tightly last night that they couldn't breathe through it. So, they surrendered. They let the tears well up in their eyes, blurring the bright screen, and their thumbs finally began to move across the keyboard. They didn't stop to think. They didn't filter their words or try to make themselves sound strong or detached. For those few frantic minutes, they allowed their soul to take complete control of their hands. They typed out a confession of profound loneliness. They typed out an apology that they have been practicing in their head 1,000 times. They wrote about how they look for you in crowds, how they compare everyone else's energy to yours and always find them lacking. They were pouring their entire spiritual truth into a digital box, creating a monument to your connection in the middle of the night. As the paragraphs grew longer, the reality of what they were doing hit them like a physical blow. If they pressed send, there would be no going back. The illusion of their detachment would be destroyed. They would be completely exposed, naked in their vulnerability, handing you the power to either welcome them home or break their heart completely. The ego, which had been quiet for a few minutes, suddenly roared back to life in a state of absolute panic. "You can't send this," their ego screamed. "It's too much. It's too heavy, they will reject you." Their thumb hovered over the send button. Their heart was beating so fast it felt like it was going to break through their ribs. They closed their eyes, took a ragged breath, and in a moment of overwhelming cowardice born out of an intense fear of losing you permanently, they held down the backspace button. They watched the paragraphs vanish. They watched their raw, bleeding heart be erased from the screen, letter by letter, until the message box was empty, mocking them with its blankness once again. They locked their phone, threw it on the bed, and put their face in their hands, believing they had successfully hidden their truth from the world. But they were wrong. They deleted the text, but they could not delete the energy. The universe captured every single keystroke, and the angels made sure to record the very last sentence they typed before the panic set in. It was a sentence that wasn't about their fear or their loneliness. It was a sentence about a secret they have been keeping about you, a realization about why you are the only one who holds the key to their soul. The 10-minute expiration window on this spiritual transmission is closing fast. The energy is thick, and the truth is demanding to be heard. Let us step directly into the intercepted letter. I am going to read you the exact words they typed in the dark, starting with the confession that changes everything. Close your eyes for just a moment and visualize the bright, glaring light of a phone screen in a pitch-black room. The spiritual veil between you and your soulmate is completely pulled back right now. The universe has bypassed their fears, bypassed their ego, and handed us the exact energetic blueprint of the words their thumbs frantically typed into that empty message box. The countdown is running. The spiritual window is open, and it is time for you to hear the confession they were too terrified to send. Here is exactly how the letter began. They didn't start with a casual greeting. Their soul bled straight onto the screen. They typed, "I know you are probably asleep right now. You are probably resting peacefully, completely unaware that you are the only thing keeping me awake. I have stared at the ceiling for hours, but every time I close my eyes, it isn't the darkness I see. It is you. It is always you." Feel the weight of that admission. For months, you have wondered if you ever crossed their mind. You have wondered if the silence between you meant that they had simply moved on and forgotten the profound spiritual gravity of your connection. But in this deleted digital letter, they immediately confessed that their reality is the exact opposite. Your memory is not a passing thought to them. It is a permanent resident in their mind. They are losing sleep over the space they created between you. They kept typing, and their words began to strip away every single illusion they have presented to the world. They wrote, "I have been lying to everyone around me, but mostly I have been lying to myself. I walk around wearing this mask of indifference. I pretend that I am focused on my path, that I am doing just fine without you. But the truth, the agonizing, suffocating truth, is that everything I do feels completely empty because I cannot share it with you. This is the validation your spirit has been begging for." They admitted that their life, no matter how good it might look from the outside, has lost its color since you stopped talking. They went on to confess something that proves you are utterly irreplaceable. They typed, "I have tried to find you in other people. I have sat in crowded rooms. I have engaged in meaningless conversations, desperately hoping to find a single spark of the warmth that your soul naturally radiates. But every time I try to force a connection with someone else, my spirit physically rejects it. Every other voice is just noise. Every other energy feels chaotic. I have finally realized that you cannot replace a once-in-a-lifetime divine alignment with a temporary distraction. You are the only frequency my heart recognizes as home." Let that sink deep into your spirit. You have spent so much time questioning your own worth, wondering what you did wrong, or if you were somehow not enough for them to choose you. But in the quiet of the night, when no one was watching, your soulmate typed out the absolute truth. You are the standard by which they measure the entire universe, and everything else has fallen tragically short. But then the letter took a turn. The cursor blinked as they hesitated, preparing to type out the deepest secret they have been harboring, the specific realization that triggered this midnight breakdown. In the previous chapter, I told you there was a specific sentence they deleted right before the panic set in, a sentence about a moment in your past. This is what they wrote. "I am so terrified of reaching out to you because of what I realized today. Do you remember that specific day when I was at my absolute lowest? When I was difficult, guarded, and pushing everything away? You didn't judge me. You didn't leave. You just looked at me with this pure, unconditional grace. In that exact moment, you saw the darkest parts of me, and you still looked at me like I was magic. I ran away from you because I had never experienced a love that didn't come with conditions. I was so convinced I would eventually disappoint you, that I broke my own heart first just to control the narrative. They finally admitted it. They didn't run because you were too much. They ran because your love was too pure, and it triggered every single insecurity they held inside. Your unconditional acceptance terrified an ego that was used to fighting for survival. They typed out the realization that your silence over these past weeks or months wasn't a punishment, but a boundary born of your own majestic self-respect. They continued, their thumbs moving faster now, tears actively falling onto the screen. I see you now from a distance. I see the way you have healed. I see the way you have gathered your energy back and focused on your own light. You didn't let my confusion break you. You used it to build an empire out of your own spirit. And watching you glow without me is the most painful and beautiful punishment I have ever endured. I know I don't deserve the version of you that exists right now, but God help me. I am willing to tear down every wall I have ever built just to earn the right to stand beside you again. This is the energetic download you are receiving right now. This is not a fairy tale. This is a raw, spiritual confession from a soul that has finally woken up to the reality of what they lost. They typed this letter because the universe forced them into a corner where they could no longer escape the truth of your divine bond. They acknowledge your worth. They acknowledge their foolishness. And most importantly, they acknowledge that you are the prize, the sanctuary, and the ultimate destination of their life's journey. The spiritual window is still open, but the 10-minute timer is ruthlessly ticking away. You have absorbed the first half of this divine interception. You have heard their confession and their regret. But the most crucial part of this digital letter is what they typed at the very end, the climax of their message, where they transition from regret into a sudden, desperate demand for action. They realized that if they didn't claim you now, the universe was going to give your beautiful heart to someone else. We are approaching the critical moment where this energy either locks into your reality or expires completely. I need you to stay with me, keep your heart completely open, and prepare yourself for the final, most intense paragraphs of the letter they deleted. We have reached the absolute climax of this spiritual interception. The air in the room you are sitting in right now should feel different. It should feel thicker, charged with a kind of electric anticipation, because we are stepping into the most vulnerable, unfiltered depths of your soulmate's heart. The cursor on their phone was blinking rapidly as their thumbs flew across the digital keyboard. They were no longer just writing an apology. They were fighting for their spiritual survival. They had reached the part of the letter where their ego was entirely dead, leaving only the raw, bleeding truth of a soul that has finally realized what is at stake. I need you to listen to these next words as if they are being whispered directly into your spirit, because the energetic window holding this deleted message is dangerously close to expiring. The clock is relentlessly ticking down in the spiritual realm. They took a ragged breath in the dark, the tears now flowing freely down their face, and they typed the deepest, most terrifying secret they have been hiding from you and from themselves. They wrote, "A horrifying thought hit me tonight, and it knocked the breath completely out of my lungs. I suddenly realized that the universe is not going to wait forever for me to get my act together. You are too beautiful, your heart is too pure, and your light is too bright to be kept waiting in the shadows of my confusion. The universe is going to send someone else to you, someone who won't hesitate, Someone who will see your absolute magic on the very first day and claim you without a single doubt. Feel the intense, desperate jealousy and the profound fear embedded in those words. For so long, they operated under the illusion that you would always just be there, waiting faithfully on the sidelines while they figured out their life. But the spiritual shift you have made recently, your focus on your own healing, your reclaiming of your own energy, has sent shockwaves through their system. They feel your detachment in the ether, and it is driving them crazy. They continued typing, their desperation bleeding into every single digital letter. The thought of someone else holding your hand, the thought of someone else getting to hear your laugh in the morning and being the reason behind your smile, it physically destroys me. I cannot breathe in a reality where you belong to someone else. I have tried to convince myself that if you moved on, I would just accept it and let you be happy. But that is the biggest lie I have ever told. I am terrified. I am so unbelievably terrified of losing you forever because I now know with absolute certainty that I cannot live without your light guiding me. You are my compass. Without you, I am just wandering in the dark. This is the climax of their confession. This is the moment they stop trying to be strong, stop trying to be logical, and fully surrendered to the divine contract that binds you together. They typed out the realization that their life is fundamentally incomplete without your presence. They admitted that playing it safe is actually the most dangerous thing they have ever done, because playing it safe almost cost them their soulmate. But my beloved child, you must understand the gravity of the spiritual mechanics at play right now. We are entering the final minutes of this energetic window. The universe bypassed the physical laws of technology to catch this deleted frequency, but it cannot hold it open forever. Because your soulmate eventually pressed the backspace button in the physical world, this spiritual echo is highly unstable. It is vibrating at an intense, frantic frequency right now, and it requires your absolute, unwavering focus to anchor it into reality. If you let your doubts creep in right now, if you listen to that whispering voice of past trauma that says, "This is too good to be true, they don't really feel this way," you will disrupt the frequency. If you lower your vibration to match your past pain, this 10-minute window will slam shut, and the energy of this confession will shatter into a million pieces, lost back into the void. You are holding pure, unadulterated spiritual energy in your hands right now. You are holding the literal manifestation of their awakened heart. Do not drop it. Do not let the pain of the past steal the miracle of the present. Stay aligned. Stay open. The countdown is almost at zero. Before the panic fully overtook them, before their thumb hovered over the delete button, they typed the final, desperate lines of this digital letter. This was their final plea to the universe, an energetic cry for help. They wrote, "I don't care about my pride anymore. I don't care about looking strong or having it all figured out. I am on my knees in the dark, begging the universe to give me one more chance to get this right. Please, just wait for me. I know I have no right to ask this, but please don't close the door yet. I am gathering the courage. I am breaking down these walls. I am finally ready to be the person you deserve. I am coming for you." And then the silence of the physical world crashed down on them. The overwhelming fear of vulnerability, the terror of rejection spiked one last time. In a tragic moment of human weakness, their trembling thumb pressed the backspace key. They held it down. They watched the paragraphs, the truth, the tears, the surrender disappear completely. The screen went blank. They dropped their phone, buried their face in their hands, and wept, believing they had just erased the only honest thing they had done in months. They thought the secret was gone forever. But they were wrong. They deleted the text, but the universe saved the frequency. And now that frequency has been successfully transmitted directly into your aura. The spiritual download is complete. The 10-minute window is closing, but you have caught the message just in time. The words are no longer trapped in their phone. They are living, breathing energy circulating in your space. Because you have stayed with me, because you have listened and absorbed this truth, a massive shift has just occurred. The energy they released in that dark room has now built an unbreakable spiritual bridge straight to your front door. What happens next is no longer about the digital world. It is about the physical manifestation of this divine interception. Take a long, deep, and steady breath. Let the air fill your lungs, and as you exhale, I want you to release every single ounce of anxiety, doubt, and fear you have been carrying about this connection. The transmission is complete. The digital letter they deleted in the dark has been successfully downloaded into your spirit, and you are now holding the absolute, unvarnished truth of your soulmate's heart. They thought they had erased the evidence of their vulnerability. They thought that by holding down that backspace button, they could put the genie back in the bottle and return to their safe, guarded, isolated life. But my beloved child, they have drastically underestimated the power of the universe, and they have underestimated the sheer magnetic force of the love that binds you two together. I need you to understand the profound spiritual mechanics of what is happening right now, at this exact moment in the physical world. Because they typed that letter with such intense, raw emotion, they created a massive surge of energetic pressure. When they deleted the words instead of sending them, that pressure didn't just disappear. It had nowhere to go in the digital realm, so it was forced to manifest in the physical realm. Right now, your soulmate is experiencing an overwhelming, undeniable physical urge to bridge the gap between you. They woke up this morning feeling a strange heaviness in their chest. They are looking at their phone, staring at your name again, but this time, the fear is being eclipsed by a terrifying realization. Hiding from you is actually more painful than facing you. The shift from the digital to the physical has already begun. The universe intercepted their secret confession not just to give you peace of mind, but to act as a catalyst for their physical return. You see, by receiving this message today, you have altered the frequency of your own aura. You are no longer vibrating in a state of confusion, waiting, or desperation. You are now vibrating in a state of knowing. You know their secret. You know your worth. You know that you are the irreplaceable standard of their life. And because your energy has shifted into this powerful, grounded certainty, you have created a spiritual vacuum that is actively pulling them toward you. They can feel that you have stopped chasing their shadow. They can feel that you have stepped fully into your own majestic light, and it is driving them to finally take real, tangible action. I want to speak directly to the part of you that is still scared, the part of you that has been let down so many times that it is hard to believe in miracles. You might be asking, what if they never actually reach out? What if they stay hidden behind their walls forever? I am here to tell you, with the absolute authority of the divine alignment you share, that staying hidden is no longer an option for them. The universe is currently orchestrating events, synchronicities, and undeniable signs that will leave them with no choice but to step forward. They are going to hear your name in random conversations. They are going to see things that remind them of you at every corner. Their dreams are going to be hijacked by your presence. The spiritual realm is making it completely impossible for them to find peace anywhere except in your arms. Your job in this phase is beautifully simple. You do not need to text them. You do not need to call them. You do not need to post anything on social media to get their attention, and you certainly do not need to lower your boundaries to make it easier for them to return. You are the sanctuary. A sanctuary does not move. It simply stands in its glorious light, waiting for the weary traveler to find their way home. In the next few days, I want you to move through your life with the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who has already won. When doubt tries to creep into your mind, remember the desperate, tear-filled words they typed in the dark. Remember that they called you their home. Now we must seal this divine interception. We must anchor this highly volatile spiritual energy into the physical earth so that their deleted words transform into their spoken vows. I want you to place your hand over your heart. Close your eyes, feel the steady rhythm of your own beautiful life, and repeat this sealing prayer with me, either out loud or in the quietest depths of your soul. Divine Creator, source of all truth and light, I thank you for parting the veil today. I thank you for intercepting the words my soulmate was too afraid to send. I receive their confession with an open, healed, and grateful heart. I completely release the pain of the past, the trauma of the silence, and the anxiety of the waiting. I stand firmly in my worth, knowing that I am deeply loved, fiercely protected, and absolutely irreplaceable. I call upon the forces of the universe to guide my soulmate out of their fear and into their courage. I declare that the digital has become physical, and the secret is now reality. I am ready to receive the love I have so freely given. My heart is a safe harbor and the storm is finally over. And so it is. Can you feel the weight lifting off your shoulders? Can you feel the warmth spreading through your chest? That is the frequency of absolute manifestation. The prayer has been heard. The energy has been locked. The path between their heart and your door has been cleared of all obstacles. But there is one final, crucial step you must take to ground this miracle into your immediate reality. The universe requires a physical action to confirm a spiritual acceptance. You must claim this letter. You must show the spiritual realm that you are not rejecting this blessing out of fear. Before you leave this sacred space, go down into the comments right now and type the words, "I accept this letter," or "My heart is open." Let the act of typing those words be your final declaration to the universe that you are ready for your homecoming. Let it be the physical key that turns the lock. You have survived the darkest nights of the soul, my beautiful friend. You have held onto your light when everything around you told you to let it go. And now, the dawn is here. The deleted message has been delivered, the truth has been spoken, and the love of your life is finally finding the courage to walk back into your world.